I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters in After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go to Macway. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
Good evening, K-Squid listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Central Coast, Monterey, and beyond. My name is Luigi Opito, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour, I'm here as your tour guide into the world of wonder, magic, information, and a lot of frustration. That's right, we're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome to one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters I hope you've ever visited. I'd like to welcome you to your Tuesday night, to your local radio station, your local KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid, 90.7 FM, also broadcasting online at broadcasting at 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and then also online at ksqd.org. Stoked to be here with you tonight. We got an hour worth of computer stuff, actually about 2.5 hours worth of computer stuff we're going to squeeze into the next hour, and we're going to get to it real quick. Of course, before we get started with the show, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody for jumping on to KSQD and ksqd.org, listening everywhere that you are out there in the world. We see you all over the place, everywhere from Oregon, Virginia, and California. Pretty cool. A lot of cool places. Quebec, interesting. So yeah, a lot of places going on right now. I'm stoked to have you with me here tonight. And if you say to yourself, wow, this guy's talking a little bit quick, how are we supposed to get any of these steps down from the show? Well, let me tell you about it. You can jump over to ksqd.org and jump onto our listening tab. Under our listening tab, we have a 2-week audio archive, which will show up any of the amazing shows we have here at KSQD and ksqd.org. And you can listen to them for the next 2 weeks and download those shows, listen, fast forward, rewind, whatever you need to do, and enjoy, especially if there's some shows you might have slept through or didn't get up early enough to hear, or maybe you're just working and wanted to catch them later. Like Talk of the Bay, maybe you're commuting home and you missed the show, you're listening to something else, watching something else. All good. Jump on to ksqd.org and check it out. We've got a lot of great shows, and of course, check our schedule and then match that up with our shows. You'll love it. While you're there, we also have my favorite feature is that little shiny red button at the very top. That is our lifeline. That's our donate button. That allows everybody to be here, and the amazing shows that we have here at KSQD allows them to keep going and also allows the electrons to flow through the board, allowing us to power everything to make it to you. So jump on our ksqd.org website, give that big old button a hit or 3, make it reoccurring, and we sincerely love you for it. Of course, I always say every week, I would not be here for any other reason, and I personally love you for it. So thank you so much for jumping on there and helping us out. If you'd like to reach out to me after the show, you can always hit me by email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. While we're in the studio here, we got the phone lines open at 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. And we're going to be taking phone calls here in just a moment. But of course, what is this Computer Man Show? What have you stumbled across? We are all about updates, new devices, testimonials, scams, and of course, our call-ins. What's going on with your machine, your computer, your piece of tech that's not doing what it's supposed to be doing? I would love to hear from you. 831-900-5773. We're here every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. And of course, we have also a couple other ways to get a hold of us. You can do on air at ksqd.org or on air email address here. And the phone number, 831-900-5773. So let's get into it here. Let's see what we've got going on for today. I've got some current events going on. We got a packet of email questions, all sorts of good stuff. Let's start with talking, let's see, who do we want to talk smack about first, Mac or PC? Let's see. Let's go into, actually, we'll jump on both sides. We got 2 of each. So let's start with the Apple side. We always start with Apple. Why not, right? I don't really have any big scams going on this week or so. There's the standard ones, just watch your emails, watch all that good stuff. But as for problems out in the world, let's talk about some new operating systems that are coming up. Well, the new Siri experience that people have been kind of buzzing about a little bit, if you've heard about us talking about it on the show, there's the Apple, what's it called? Apple Intelligence. I always call it Apple Experience, but it's called Apple Intelligence. It is going to basically be coming out with the debut of 18. I don't know if it's 18.1 they're coming out, they're just 18.0 with the iOS 18 operating system. But the Siri version of Apple Intelligence is not going to roll out till way later, like 18.4 they're saying, which might not come out until spring of next year. So there is a beta tested period that is going to be running through, that they're going to be getting through all the different parts of Siri, but yet Apple Intelligence is still going to be launched this year. So what's the difference? The Siri side of Apple Intelligence is actually speaking to the Siri app that you have on your phone that's built into your phone onto every Apple device, and it is used to basically control actions within the apps. So if you could ask Siri to do something like instead of just saying, "Hey, find me all my photos of dogs," and then all of a sudden it shows all your photos, because you can search your photos right now. A lot of people didn't even know that, but you can jump onto your photos on an iPhone and search for plants or flowers or a building or humans, or very generalized basic terms. On the other side, if you get this new Apple Intelligence with the new Siri version in 18.4, which comes out in spring of next year, you would be able to say, show me all of the pictures of dogs jumping in the water. Something specific like that. Show me the pictures of black houses. Show me the picture of another thing that's colored in a different way. Show me red fire trucks. Show me you can say these things and it'll search for that, or even say specific things within apps. I'm not quite sure what exactly that's going to entail, but we will know more as the apps develop and as the product actually gets developed. But I was reading this article, and we're talking about this because of the very end, and it kind of hit me with this random thing that we're talking about here. Before we get to that, though, they're also saying that that when it does launch in the 18.0, 18.1 in coming up in a few months, the new design is going to be there. Chat GPT integration is going to be there from the launch. And also, but that's going to be kind of like the first steps into Apple Intelligence. And then what they're going to start doing is releasing more and more and more of it, and as more apps pass beta testing, as more features pass beta testing, you'll be able to see more and more, and that will actually be able to come out. But also, I guess they're saying that the Apple Watch isn't getting it, the Apple Watch 3 isn't getting it. There's a new processor, but they're not going to be using it to use this new Apple Intelligence based on your phone, I guess. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was this last little sentence set right here. It said, Gurman, the guy who wrote the article, had previously reported that Apple Intelligence will come to Vision Pro headsets next year. That's the VR, AR goggles that Apple created, those like $2,000 goggles. They said the HomePod, which is their Apple's home speaker, which is kind of elitist. I haven't seen any of them in any homes I've been to. They're expensive. They sound nice, but they're like twice as much as any other speaker, or 3 times as much. Excuse me. Said the HomePod, on the other hand, is not slated to get the new suite of features. Here's what I saw, though. It said, with the company holding off for a new, quote, AI-powered tabletop robot. I'm sorry. And I'm like, wait, what? Apple is going to be creating an AI-powered tabletop robot? What is that? So this article was released on, looks like, was it today? No, Sunday. It was on Sunday that came out. I have not done any searching for the AI tabletop-powered Apple robot that they were talking about, but I'm kind of stoked to hear about it and kind of stoked to see if it comes out. So we'll be watching that and see if it comes. Alongside with Apple, their new M5 chip that's coming out is going to have a dual-use design that's also going to power future Macs and AI servers based on Apple stuff. So it's developed by TSMC. I guess it was unveiled in 2018. It's all that the SoIC, system on an integrated chip, and that's what. Yeah, I mean, we're used to that architecture. If you've been using an iPhone since like basically the iPhone, I think the iPhone 5 or iPhone 6 days, those were all SoCs or SoICs, system on a chip. It says SoIC and SoC and SoIC are basically the same thing: system on a chip, system on an integrated chip, or system on an integrated circuit. Actually, I guess it is chip on both sides. Anyway, it says it allows for the stacking of chips in a 3-dimensional structure, providing a better electrical performance and thermal management compared to a traditional 2-dimensional chip design. Kind of curious how it does that. So I guess that they take layers and then they connect those layers between the two. I'm not really sure. I'm not into chip manufacturing, but I have seen them make it. I've seen them do like, it's not a lithograph. It's some type of where they do the photo etching on top of the silicon. And I was surprised to find out that when, like Intel, and I'm not sure if Apple does this, but when Intel's silicon is made, every chip that is created is basically produced as an i9 chip. They have the i3, i5, i7, i9. The i9s, and every chip has basically redundancies and extra gates built in case something doesn't work in the actual photo. like photolithography or something. It's a reduction where you put the thing over the top, give it like a UV treatment type thing, and it leaves a relief of what the lithogram was on top. And I'm not using the right word. I apologize. It's escaping me right now. But what they do with Intel, which I had just recently learned, is everything's an i9. Then they start testing them, and some of the pathways don't transfer properly. Some of the things don't go, and so the chip gets downgraded to an i7. If those aren't working, then they had shut off certain pathways, enable others, and they turn into an i5. If those ones don't work, and it's really kind of a bottom of the line, didn't really make it all the way through, those get turned into i3s. So every chip gets started off as this amazing chip, and then if it has the good pathways, they slate it as the i9. A couple more less that are there, i7, i5, i3, and it goes down the road. I'm not sure how they're doing it with this three-dimensional thing that they're doing with Apple, which is really cool. But this system on a chip is very standardized. They used it in the iPhones for years and years and years, and now they're moving it into the iMacs when they moved in the M1 chip. That was also the same thing, the system on a chip. And the idea is the system on a chip means that it has a graphics processor. I don't believe it has the RAM. It might have the RAM. I'm not quite sure on that. Don't hold me to that, but it may have the RAM built into it. But it also has like the video coprocessor built into it, audio, all that kind of stuff built into the same chip, that one system on a chip. But according to Economic Daily, Apple has expanded its cooperation with this TSMC, which is the company that makes their chip, on a next-generation hybrid system of its chip package that additionally combines thermoplastic carbon fiber composite molding technology. That sounds very fancy. Package is said to be a small trial production phase with the intention of mass producing the chips in 2025 and 2026 for the new iMacs and AI cloud servers. References were already believed to be these M5 chips. They've already been discovered in official Apple codes that people have found. Apple's also been working on processors for its own AI servers made with TSMC's 3-nanometer processes and targeting mass production by the second half of 2025, so later next year. But yeah, they want to assemble AI servers powered by its M4 chip. So, here we are talking about M5s. They don't even have the benchmarks out for the M4s yet. And we're still talking about the M3s too. And the M1s are still good. So they're making chips and they are producing boom, 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 quicker, faster, and better than ever. But yet, if you got like an M1 right now, you'd still be stoked. So it's going to be really interesting to see in like maybe 2 or 3 years how the different chipsets kind of evolve and what you've got, because I see a lot of people going and buying a new Mac that aren't power users that are getting the new M3s or getting a brand new machine with an M2 chip on it, and they're checking email and stuff, and I'm like, and it's just the chip is basically just idling. Like, what are these chips going to be able to do? So it's interesting to see them already talking about the M5 processors. When literally they don't even have the benchmarks out for the M4s. And then they're talking about also these still on the M3s, and those are still the hot chips because a lot of those aren't produced yet or aren't put onto other things. It's just they're producing so much that they basically don't have a platform to put these things into yet, it seems like. Crazy. Okay, so let's jump over to the Microsoft side. Let me see, do I have my other Microsoft thing here? That's Apple. Oh, okay, cool. So first let's talk about, Microsoft's had a number of intrusions. Last year, was it last year? Gosh, everything's moving so quickly. I can't remember exactly when it was, but they had a problem where there's a giant hack, and the hack basically used the Microsoft Exchange servers to gain access to emails of high-ranking government officials. And a lot of times we see hacks, like actual hacks, like people actually hacking together the code and breaking into things. When we usually see things like that, those type of things are usually attacked and aimed at higher-end people, higher-end entities, higher-end corporations, people who are in the public eye, people who might have state secrets type stuff, right? People would have stuff that would be good to steal and resell for ransom. So with that, Microsoft has changed what they're doing in China, starting in China, and they've told staff to only use iPhones in China, no more Android phones. And that's because in China, also the Google Play Store is banned in China, so they have to use Highway, or I don't know if you say it Highway, Huawei, and Xiaomi. Man, I'm terrible. I'm sorry about these names. But Huawei and Xiaomi. It's Highway and Xiaomi. I'm not sure. I'm so sorry. But they are saying, hey, based on the security features that the security flaws that we found, there are some holes and things like the Android operating system, which is, again, it's not an embedded device. An iPhone is an embedded device, which and the Android phone kind of runs on its own thing. You can take root access control and control all the apps with root access control on a Android phone. You can't do that on an iPhone. So I guess Chinese state-sponsored hackers were able to access email accounts of government employees and U.S. companies last year after a flaw in the Microsoft Exchange software. And then, so Microsoft then told employees that Android phones were being blocked from accessing services used to verify their identities and log into work devices. So there is an authentication system that was also running on the Android phones, but I guess it was compromised in some way. Yeah, they said that basically they were told last year to use burner phones when visiting Hong Kong, having already encouraged the practice within China itself. And I guess Microsoft is attempting to tighten up security worldwide as part of a, quote, secure future initiative, following a series of cyber intrusions. Said also the U.S. heavily criticized the companies last year as a cascade of failures. What is this? When that allowed Chinese hacking group dubbed Storm 0558 to access the emails of these high-ranking government officials. So there was an authentication server issue that happened that was then found with a loophole within Android phones, and they said, hey, we're not going to be using those for authentication anymore. We're going to be using iPhones, which are kind of like sandboxed, compartmentalized. So if you get root access control of one thing, you're not going to have root access control of everything. You're going to have it only on the one thing that you would actually have access to. So, yeah, I guess they also been seeking to move staff working on high-end artificial intelligence software out of China, and in recent months as the U.S. and China seek to compete in the technology. So a lot of interesting things kind of happening by the day, but I guess this company reached out and asked Microsoft what they were doing, and they didn't call back. So, but also on the other side, Microsoft is using their new Snapdragon X Elite processor, their new ARM processor, in their new Surface Tablet Pros. And this is a big step. This is a big thing because we're stepping out of the Intel world and we're going into basically an ARM architecture, which Apple kind of hasn't done before. The Mac, welcome to the show, everybody. The PC side hasn't done before. So this 2-in-1 hardware they're using, the Surface Pro laptop, and they're now coming out finally because they have models out for testers, and they finally have people out to test the batteries and see how the M3 MacBook Pros perform against that new Surface Pro 7. And it's the Surface Pro 7 that we're talking about, nothing in the 6 or the 5 or the 4. The Surface Pro 7 only is the only one that has that ARM architecture built into it. So, based on that, the MacBook Pro versus the 7 is not quite apples to apples, but this company, or a guy named Phone Buff, picked the two as they're both $2,000 laptops from each company with a lot of the same features. So, and with those few differences that made the battery test nuanced, MacBook Pro features a higher resolution display, basically 3024 by 1963 opposed to the 2404 and 1536. So it's Surface Pro has a little bit less screen resolution, and the Apple laptop has a 70 watt-hour battery, and the Surface Pro has a 54 watt-hour battery. So already right there, we're dealing with a little bit less battery in the Surface Pro already. So you're going to have a little bit more battery life no matter what, even if you were running both identical machines, because it physically has more battery in it. Let's see. So the M3 MacBook Pro led the Surface 7 through the test with more battery life until the gaming portion. However, another difference is that the M3 Pro ran the Tomb Raider benchmark at 2 to 3 times the frame rate of the Surface laptop. And that ended up killing the MacBook Pro battery 7 minutes before the Surface Pro 7 died, which is interesting. Again, you're having like 4/5 of a battery in the Surface Pro than you do in the actual MacBook. The 7-minute difference is within the margin of error if the MacBook Pro hadn't run such high frame rates in the first place, and would have probably outlasted the Surface laptop by about 30 minutes. But on the other side, the Surface 7 did impressively well with a smaller 54 watt-hour battery. So there's a whole test. They put a video out online. If you actually want to do a search for it, Snapdragon X Elite versus Apple M3 Pro battery test. Kind of interesting if you're into that. You're using two different processors and two different batteries running kind of the same thing at a different resolution. So there's a lot of factors there that they were talking about, but it basically in the same price scale. So both are performing extremely well. I mean, to run 2 to 3 times the frame rate and still keep up with the battery life, that is pretty awesome. And it seems like that the Snapdragon X processor is going to do some pretty cool stuff. So I'm curious what Intel's doing. Are they still making chips? Are people still buying those? I'm curious what AMD is going to be doing. If we're all going to the Snapdragon ARM stuff, as everything's kind of moving towards that way, it's fascinating to see how, and are we going to have like 1,000-core ARM processors in the future? It's so interesting to see what's going on out in the real world of all these things happening, and a lot of things to catch up on, especially with all this new tech, and also the things that are going into our beloved systems. We're not used to ARM processors being put into laptops and system on a chips, Mac making their own stuff and everything. So things are new. It's new within the past couple of years, and it's interesting to see where computing is going, to see if we're going to hold on to that as well. All right, let's get on to some of the other things. I would love to get through some of these email questions. There's a lot of great information in there. Let's see if we also have anything else going on the scam side, which I don't really think we had anything to focus on this week. Yeah, I don't think, let me see. I had one more big old packet of paper here that we were talking about. I guess the only thing really is the phishing attacks have kind of gone up a little bit. Everything kind of goes back and forth. One week, phishing attacks are kind of heavier. And the next week, it's more of a ransomware type thing, or it's more virus related. But the phishing attacks are really kind of getting heavy, and they're getting better. And I think they're getting better only to get past things like Google and getting past a lot of these higher end email platforms. So, of course, a phishing attack, if you're not sure what that is, it's a type of cyber attack where attackers impersonate legitimate entities, and they basically do that to deceive you. And they want your information. They want you to give information out to you, give information to them by basically saying that they're somebody else. And so you're like, oh, you're my bank. Let me give you my banking credentials. And you're like, haha, I'm not a bank. I now have your credentials, and I'm going to go take your money, transfer money out, screw with your stuff, change your password, all that kind of stuff, whatever. So, but it's typically done through these deceptive emails, through messages on your phone, websites that appear from trusted sources. If you don't have ad block and you're doing some type of redirect, a lot of things like that. So, the phishing can be anything from a Google email coming across for you to download some file that supposedly you need. Or even, I just got a message actually, like today. This was a weird one. It said a driver needs help delivering your Amazon order. I didn't have an Amazon order to be delivered. It says reply stop to stop receiving text from Amazon deliveries, and it says hello, I have a delivery. Are you closed? And you're like, well, I was open at the time, and my home is my home, so we don't close the home. And it says your order couldn't be delivered. You can track your order on your orders page. Text session will end in 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, I didn't open a text session, and I didn't have anything placed, and that wasn't from Amazon, and I don't have any Amazon orders. So what is that, right? And they want, and at this point, they want you to write them back, as far as I know. And I don't think that that's legit. Just because I don't have any Amazon orders out, and it says this will close in 5 minutes. Yeah, very strange. So why is that? And why would they send me something like this? The point is to send something like this I believe is to make sure that they're talking to a real person and get a real get a real phone number, add that to the list, and off they go. So it sounds like we got a call coming in. Let's see what's going on out in the real world. Hello, you're on with the Computer Man. How can I help you?
Hi, Luigi. I have a question about, first time it's ever happened, I can't open Google Maps on my phone, and I've done everything I thought I should do to try to open it, but It says you're not hooked up to an internet connection, and I am.
Okay, an iPhone or Android phone?
iPhone.
Okay, so your data's on, you swipe down, you see the data's green on your little control panel there?
Yes.
Good. Okay. And you've swiped up and over and closed the app and reopened the app?
3 times.
Okay. So I'd like you to do on your iPhone. What kind of iPhone do you have? Do you know if it's a 12 or newer?
It's a 12. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So what I want you to do, and you're going to do this in a sequence. It's kind of quick and it's kind of weird. What you're going to do is you're going to go volume up, volume down, hold the power button. I don't know if you're talking on the phone right now. You don't want to do it yet. But what you're going to do is as quick as you can, you're going to hit the volume up, volume down, and hold the power button. So it's volume up, volume down, hold the power button, and you're going to do that as quick as you can. So I close all my apps out, volume up, volume down, hold the power button, and you're going to see the little thing on your phone screen that says, hey, do you want to shut it down? And you don't swipe that closed. Just keep holding the power button, and it's going to keep holding, and the screen's going to go black. keep holding, keep holding, keep holding. You'll see the Apple logo pop up. As soon as you see the Apple logo, let go. What that'll do is that'll clear out the system cache and the system RAM, let the phone reboot completely, come back, sign in, and I bet if you launch the app, it'll pop back up.
That's fascinating. Okay, I'm going to take it offline, and I'm going to do that right now.
Okay, try that. Call me back if it doesn't work. I've got another trick for you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my friend. Great to hear from you. And that leaves the phone lines open for you at 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. No question too big or too small, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a call, 900-5773, and let's talk about it and see what's going on. With something like that, with an app not opening, or the app was opening, but wasn't communicating back to the cellular data or to the cellular service, every once in a while there's some linking error that happens in the phone. And if your phone hasn't been restarted in a long time, that can take the toll. So I every once in a while have an app that acts a little weird or does something weird, or you open the app and it closes down. You open the app and it closes down. This one was opening but not seeing the data. So close out all your apps and let's just give the phone a fresh restart, just like a computer. Volume up, volume down, hold the power button, and let's see what's going on. Oop, phone line's coming again. Let's see what's going on. Hello, you're on with the computer man. How can I help you?
Whoa, well, that was fast.
It was.
That was ridiculous. That was like ARM, you know.
Oh man, how's it going? How can I help you?
Hey, listen, yeah. Here's okay. I got an interesting thing, and I'm curious to get your general comments about right to fix. You know, the whole right.
Oh
to
yeah,
repair
right to
thing.
repair. Yes.
But basically, it has to do with just a personal issue I've encountered with my iPhone. I have or had an iPhone 7 recently. I mean, I had it for some years, but about a year ago, I was having some problem with that, with the charging receptacle and the plug from the charger from the wall into the phone. It was not always connecting, right? It was kind of getting a little wonky, and if I moved the phone or turn it over, I could feel that it turned on and was charging.
Okay.
And so I finally went into Apple Genius, you know, I went in there, they looked at it and said, yeah, there's a problem. Well, we can clean the contacts, which I'd already tried to do, and you know, there's stuff like that. Anyways, comes back to me and says, well, we did what we can, but you got to know if this stuff doesn't work, you'll have to replace the phone. I'm like, oh, okay, so you can't just replace the power receptacle inside the phone as a part, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
If that receptacle goes bad, you're you know, SOL. And basically that's what he said. Well, okay, fast forward to just last week, you know, July 4th weekend, and my phone, I'm still able to charge it. It's been a year. But, you know, still that little wiggle thing happened. Well, finally, on the night of July 4th, I go to plug it in when I'm going to bed, and damn, you know, it doesn't register. It just does not register that it's charging. Anyways, so I end up, you know, trying everything I can. I realize, you know, this thing's not charging. I got like 40% battery. You know, I got a problem here.
Yeah.
So I went into the Apple store the next day and said, hey, I can't get this thing to charge, and same thing. They went, yeah, okay, we clean it up. No, that's not going to work. You got to get a new phone. And it's like, you can't repair that piece. And so that's one thing that's a real bummer. It's like they can replace the main logic board. They did that once because I had a flawed chip.
Okay.
It took my phone for a week, and they can fix that. They can fix your screen. You know, they can't. Sorry, we can't put a new power receptacle. You got to buy a new phone. I mean, that's kind of, you know, not great. But anyways, my question really, but that's one issue. It's the right to repair. Why can't you repair it? Your receptacle goes bad, you got to buy a new phone, you know? I mean, that kind of sucks. But the other thing is that I had about a gigabyte of photos and stuff that I hadn't synced with my computer regularly. I back up like every quarter, you know, and take things off my phone. Hadn't done it yet, so I've got these photos on it, and I have to get, well, what can I do about, you know, the stuff that's on my phone? I have a lot of other stuff on the iCloud, so it's okay, I got that stuff back, but like these other things, and he said, well, you know, you got to go to a data recovery, but they're really expensive, and I don't know, you know, they may not get it all, you know, so there was kind of this equivocal, and I'm just wondering, what can I do? If the phone is dead, and it seems to be dead, I can't get it to power up or take a charge, you know, it won't register and start charging.
Okay.
And I've got this, you know, is there a way I can get those photos eventually? Because I got, you know, some good photos and videos of my kids and,
yeah,
you know, that kind of.
Okay, so first of all, Apple is going to just basically give you that blanket statement, hey, you should buy something new. And iPhone 7 is now, they have their what do they call it? They call it vintage, is still like usable but like doesn't get updates. And they have obsolete, which are just devices they don't service or anything like that. I'm surprised they looked at your 7 at all and didn't go like, oh, we never made that, or something crazy like Apple says. First of all, the Apple 7 Lightning connector is available today, right now. iFixit.com. You can buy one $30. I would then take that iFixit connector for $30 that you purchase yourself with your iPhone 7 and head over to Batteries Plus in Scotts Valley. There is a lady there that works there that does battery replacements, but would also put the charging port into your phone for you.
What? No kidding.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes. iFixit.com. Yeah.
So I didn't have to buy a new iPhone 14.
Well, you kind of did. iPhone 7 is not really supported anymore, so you're not going to be getting a lot of the security stuff.
That we do. My wife was kicking my butt for not having one yet. So it still works. All right, you're saying I can get a charging receptacle. I'll call it receptacle, the thing that's inside the phone.
Yes.
And I can go and get someone to install that. And,
Yes.
and I need a new battery, too, by this.
Yeah, so at that point, actually, when you're on the iFixit website, they have batteries, too. And so you'll be able to see, you'll find if you have the iPhone 7, iPhone 7 Plus, whatever you've got. And then you'll get the board. You can buy a new battery. And if you bring both of those to the lady at Santa Cruz, I would call them first before you buy any parts. I'm 99% sure they would do this because they replace batteries on iPhones. But Batteries Plus has that lady. She works there. She's awesome. I've talked with her before. She's really on it. And she, most likely, if she replaces batteries, she'd be able to put that charging port into your phone because it's right there. As soon as you've got the screen off, it's literally right there.
So I called them to get this whole process started.
I would call them just to double check that they would work on your phone. And I'm 95% sure that they would. And then they're gonna then you're gonna bring them quality parts. You're gonna bring them parts sealed in a box. Like, hey, here's iFixit. Here's my phone. Here's the box sealed with the parts in it. I need both of these things replaced for me, please.
Okay, so I go to iFixit and then I look up my phone and charging receptacle, whatever they call it.
Yeah, it's called a Lightning Connector Assembly.
Lightning Connector Assembly. Thank you.
Yes.
I gotta write that one down.
Yeah, in fact, the one I saw here has for $30, you're getting all the tools and everything, including to get into it. The part itself right now looks to be only $25. So it's got the entire thing ready to go. You get a toolkit for an extra $5. But yeah, $24 on iFixit's website. You'll have the part, and then you can take it to somebody who's comparable or who is capable of putting that part in, and then you charge up your phone, get your photos off it, and do whatever you want.
Yeah, do whatever I want. Give them to my daughter when she's old enough.
Exactly.
Hey, no, I appreciate that. Thank you, Computer Man. You're great. I'll see you at the station soon. All right.
All right, man. You're welcome. Thanks so much for the call. Take care. At least the phone line's open for you here at 831-900-5773. After a short break, we're going to go real quick. We're going to go into some of our amazing underwriters, the people who help keep KSQD on the air and help us be here, and the amazing people that are in our town and that listen to KSQD and KSQD.org. So stick around. We're going to just go through a few of these real quick. We'll be back before you know it. And don't go anywhere. We will be literally right back.
KSQD has a new listener survey, and we would love for you to take it. Please visit ksqd.org to find the link and give us your feedback. That's the K-Squid survey at ksqd.org.
My name is Luigi Opido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers and the host of The Computer Man Show, a 1-hour call-in show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Viruses, slowdowns, scams, and updates. Computers can be a pain, and I'll help you through it.
Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
If it has an on switch, we'll probably talk about it on The Computer Man Show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on KSQD 90.7 FM Santa Cruz.
Get into a computer. Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be in the Night, bringing you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
If you're a lover of computers, you're most likely a lover of jazz, too, and maybe you didn't even know it. So stick around at 7 o'clock, Be in the Night coming up. with amazing jazz tunes. And of course, KSQD is known for our jazz Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursday nights from 7 to 10. Incredible shows by incredibly curated people. Stick around, 7 o'clock. All you got to do is let it happen to you, and it's going to be great. Let all this computer nonsense ooze out of your ears, and we're going to be back with it in just a little bit. But we're back here with the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. Real quick for tomorrow, join K-Squid at 6 o'clock from the bookshelf as Gary Shapiro speaks with George Slater, the creator of the groundbreaking 1960s TV show Laugh-In. I used to watch Laugh-In all the time. Now in his 90s, George Slater shares some of his hilarious stories from the lifetime of show business. Do not miss it. That's from the bookshelf. Today Wednesday at 6 p.m. That's tomorrow. Here on listener-supported K-Squid, 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and always online at ksqd.org. Many voices, one station. Stoked to be back with you here at the Computer Man Show. We're going to get into some email questions. Of course, if you have a phone call, a question, comment, concern, give us a call here at 831-900-5773, and I'd love to hear from you. Let's get into that email packet. Whoomp. That's right. It is. I try to get into it, try to take away, and it just gets thicker and thicker. It's great. You guys have tons of questions, tons of things going on. I'd love to hear from you. And it looks like we got another phone call coming in. Let's see what's going on out in the real world. Hello. You're on with the Computer Man. How can I help you?
Tons of things going on. I'd love to hear.
Hi.
Hey. How can I help you?
You must have a recording on.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's a little bit of a delay going through all the servers and everything. Everything's digital based. So if you want to turn on your radio just a little bit, I'd love to talk with you. How you doing?
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so happy to hear from you. Thank you. I love your show.
Thank you.
So I'm a reasonably intelligent person, but I don't know how to my phone has got so many pictures on it, it won't do any updates.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do. I can tell you that I have them backed up in the iCloud, but I don't know what to do. I don't want them just in the iCloud. I want them on a hard, I want them myself.
Yes. Do you know what size your phone is? Do you know what size you got? 256 gig, 512, 128?
It's not 512, maybe 256.
Okay. So let's, okay, great. So right now they make these, there's a number of different ways we can go. The first thing I thought of was, in order to get the data off the phone is to get it onto a flash drive or some type of thing, right? Which usually involves plugging in the computer and then trusting things and making things work properly, and it's kind of a cumbersome thing. They created basically a dual-tipped flash drive. One side is USB like you plug in your computer, and the other side is the lightning connector that goes into the port on your phone. So it's really cool. You plug this little flash drive in. We could get you a 256 gig one the same size as your phone. You plug it in, and then it basically says, oh, hey, I'm a flash drive. Welcome, here I am. What do you want me to do with me? And you go to your photos, and then you either select most of them, select all of them, select whatever you'd like, highlight them in your actual Photos app, and then you can export them to that flash drive. And what it'll do is it'll make a copy. We always want to make a copy. We don't want to move anything. Make a copy onto your flash drive. And then as soon as it says it's done after a little while, which would probably take a little while to be honest, you'll unplug the flash drive. You can plug it into your computer and you can just double check to make sure the photos are there. And that would get them off the phone onto something that you're physically, tangibly holding. And then at that point, you can copy it onto an external hard drive, copy it to your computer if you want, but they'll be there as well as on your phone. They'll also be on that flash drive. As soon as they're on the flash drive, then you can make the decision if you want to delete them from the phone or go to the very top of your photos and delete your oldest ones, down to maybe the last year or two or something.
Right.
That'd be the easiest way to get everything off. And it'd be the least amount of steps, the least amount of clicks, and the easiest for an end user to do. The other side, of course, would then just be plugging in the machine to your computer, and then it turns into basically a giant external drive where then we would copy the files over, which takes a little bit of time. And there's actually some software you can get that would make it a little bit more easier to go through that process, because when you plug in your phone, if you've ever done that, you'll see that the photos are basically separated into 100 photos per folder. So you have I have 70,000 photos on my phone, so I've got a ton of folders in there, and using a piece of software might be a little bit easier to get them out if I'm using a computer. But first step, I would get one of those USB flash drives, plug that little guy in. It's called a dual tip. It has the lightning connector and USB. Plug it into your phone, you can export them right out.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. Have you heard of this thing called Foxfer?
Foxfer.
PHOXFER. Supposedly, I think it's kind of what you're talking about, but you put it in your phone and it saves everything. But you buy it.
And it's a physical thing? Oh, okay. I see it here. Try Foxfer. Okay, I'm looking it up right now. I haven't heard of that brand. Let me take a look at it here. Oh, okay. This is basically what I'm talking about, I think. Yeah. So this has a it's got a 4-in-1 connector on the end, so you can plug in Lightning or USB-C, and then it'll do So this is actually basically the same idea. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
I didn't know if it was a scam. You never know.
I before recommending it, I'd like to look into it a little bit just before I give you my recommendation on it. But yes, this is basically a flash drive that does exactly the same thing. Might have a little bit extra security on it, or might be a little bit more robust than just a standard flash drive. But this looks legit. Yeah, it's been featured on a number of the magazines that I read. So if you actually wanted to email me, luigi@ksqd.org, I would be happy to look into this piece of tech, make sure it's good, and then I could give you my actual recommendation on it if you like.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. Hey, is that one more thing? I know the volume up, volume down in power. Is that something all of us should do?
It's something that I do not often, but if there's a flub up on my phone, or if something's not working properly, it's a good, nice flush. And so I like to do that. Basically, if I'm going on Wi-Fi and Safari's not working, I go to something else and my Google Maps isn't loading. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why is the phone acting weird? Close all the apps, volume up, volume down, hold the power button, it resets itself and everything comes back. So I don't do it all the time, but if I do, if the phone has something weird going on, I go, I'm going to take 2 minutes. I'm just going to restart my phone. And that's the way I actually restart it. I do like that hard-coded volume up, volume down, and hold down the power button. If we just turn the phone off, I think it just puts it into advanced hibernation state and then restarts it. This will actually wipe the RAM, wipe any of the cache files, and clear it out and give you a good, solid restart.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. Okay. I'm not having trouble like that, but I'm going to make a note.
Good.
Okay. I will email you, and thank you. And I love your show, and I love KSQD.
Awesome. We love KSQD too. Yeah. It's a great place. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you.
Thanks.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Ladies, the phone line's open for you, ladies and gentlemen. 831-900-5773. I also love KSQD. It's a great place, great people. It's the best. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. All right. So let's get into a few email questions here we've got. Well, or another phone call. Let's talk about the phone. I love these phone calls. Maybe everybody, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what's going on in the real world one more time. Hello, I'm on with the Computer Man. How can I help you?
Hey, Luigi, this is Ray. How you doing?
Ray, what's going on, man? I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good. Hey, I was wondering, I was trying to set up that Starlink I got from Mike.
Okay.
And it's out in the mountains. And, of course, where else would it be, right?
Sure.
And it appears that he never
deactivated it?
I don't remember how they put it, but they never deactivated it. So I'm wondering what I have to do now, because getting him to do it is probably not going to be a very easy task.
Right. Okay. So I do know that our good buddy Mike was pretty astute in the Starlink app. And I would be able to give you step-by-step instructions. I don't have them in front of me, obviously, but I'd be able to give you step-by-step instructions, 3 or 4 instructions I could email to him. And then if you called him just to say, hey, open up that email from Luigi and just follow those step-by-steps and get it deactivated. I think that's what we need to do. The account holder has to do it, and I think it has to be done through the app. So we wouldn't be able to do it any other way besides getting him to turn his account off and having it open like you're selling it, and then being able to take yours and then activate it.
Well, so there's no other way?
I don't believe so. You could possibly write support at, I think it's support@starlink.com, but it's all about that main account holder. And Mike just has to deactivate his account, and it's all done through the app. So I think if he were just to fire up his iPhone, fire up the Starlink app, and again, I'll look it up for you just to be sure. But I believe then at that point we just disconnect and deactivate the service. It then turns into a basic thing waiting to be plugged in, waiting to be connected to the next app, to the next person, to the next account.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Luigi. I'll do that, and we'll keep you posted. And I got another call coming in. Thanks
okay, please do. All right, you're welcome, Ray. Great to hear from you. Take care. Yeah, Starlink is pretty funky. There's no support. There's no the support staff is weird. You email out into the ether, and there's no phone call to make. It's amazing. I don't know how a company with such high tech stuff like that can have. I mean, a lot of these companies do it. Google does it. How do you have all these devices, all these things, and only have help stuff online and not a human on the other end? It's a very interesting how the world has kind of gone to that with a lot of this tech stuff. But same idea. If as long as we get onto the app with the original account holder, it should be able to bring it back out. Cool. Great question. Great questions, everybody, tonight at 831-900-5773. I'm stoked to get all your phone calls. I'm honored you're sharing your time with me. Thank you. Okay, one of the first email questions here I had that we're just getting in my little packet here. And of course, you can give me a call. Interrupt me, please. 831-900-5773. Your questions are amazing. Someone wrote me and said, why do people hate Chrome? I went, oh, okay, they hate Google, but let's see. So I've been using Chrome for a while now. I feel it's quite a nifty browser. Yeah, whenever someone talks about it, they always say how garbage it is. Why is that? What's wrong with Chrome? I'm a casual user of the internet browser, mainly using it to work and read. Why? So let's go through a few things. First, it's a kind of a privacy nightmare. It's Google, and of course, so Google's going to be taking everything they can. And it started out pretty lightweight, and it was totally superior to Edge, or I guess Internet Explorer that was out, and a couple other things. And they were amazing, right? And then Chrome came along and was even better. So, whoa. But it was lightweight, and it basically outperformed everything at that time. But then now, as it's becoming more and more used, it's becoming more and more bloated, more features, more things, more stuff inside, and it's getting a little fatter. Yeah, it's but it also is pretty resource intensive by design. It uses a lot of RAM. And now they have certain things where you can actually enable features inside Chrome where it'll show you if one tab is using more RAM than another, or you can turn off the features inside Chrome where the tab is not actively being used. You have to click back onto it for the website to reload. A lot of things like that. But it kind of has lost its competitive edge because it kind of went into all these other things, right? Firefox, on the other end, is awesome. It's convenient. It's quick. But also, Google's been clawing back at like user freedoms. They've been threatening all this ad block stuff, right? And they kind of, they do it and they kind of pull back from it. They say it and people freak out and they kind of pull back from it again. But it's, I take it for granted. But just simply like a Chrome crippling ad blocks. Right now I used to recommend getadblock.com. Getadblock.com is still good. I still use it personally, but uBlock Origin has kind of become the new one because it overrides a lot of the things that getadblock.com is doing. And also getadblock.com is also getting a little greedy. They're asking for money now, which they used to not do. So, and it's a huge conflict of interest because Google's revenue sources are ads, right? So if you have an ad blocker on a device that does its revenues from ads, they're not going to like that very much. But basically aside from just its spying and tracking abilities that it has, it just eats your system memory. And when I say eats it, I mean it uses the available stuff. So you have a nice 3-seat couch and it's sitting in the middle of the couch and it's got its legs spread open and it's got its snacks on one side, it's got drinks on the other, and there's 2 other people to sit down, and there's just not room because Google has decided to spread out all over the place. Chrome has decided to do that, right? So, but they're also like in the middle of a bunch of privacy lawsuits right now. So, I guess they just lost a monopoly trial. I didn't really follow that, but someone else told me about that. And they're just trying to make more tech and make the entire web more advertising and tracker friendly. And that's gross. So, it's like, someone made an analogy. It said, it's like buying a car from a dealer who's been in the news for screwing over customers. I get that they're the biggest dealer in town, but come on. Right. So, yeah. I use Chrome personally. It works on a lot of things. It opens PDFs really easily. It does a lot of things that I need it to do. But if I can, I try to use Firefox because it's our last independent browser and I don't want to use the big dogs. But at the same time, Chrome works really well on basically everything. So it's a go-to to make sure your stuff is working. And it's become an industry standard. It's past Edge, past a lot of the browsers. It's one of the most popular, if not the most popular. So, on that other side, is there any way to actually get support from Google? This person says, I'm genuinely reaching the end of my patience. I've had my Google account since I was underage, so was added into a Google family. Now I'm no longer a minor, and I cannot stop the supervision even for my parents' account. I've had this problem for a while, and I've even left feedback on Google's support page, but obviously didn't get any replies. Is there any way to contact a human that would at least guarantee a reply, if not a possible solution to this silly issue that I'm having? Okay, I totally hear you. I had an issue like a year ago and I couldn't get any support. So then for just a minute, I got Google One. And then when I got a hold of support, I told them I only got the Google One because they messed something up and I couldn't get them to fix it. And it was only the way to do it was to get through Google One, and then with that, they actually basically canceled my Google One account, gave me my money back for the money I'd spent on my Google One account, and fixed my issue. This is not what I recommend. This is a terrible way of going about it. It's just, they should have a place. So, Google headquarters, everyone get a pen. After my digging, Google headquarters phone number is 650-253-0000. That's 650-253-0000, and you will get to Google. You can go through the phone tree and try a couple different things to get to a tech support person, but that is Google's phone number. It took me a while to find it. Of course, to save time, you could visit the relative Google product page, look for a circled question mark in the web or app interface, and then that will open a help menu with support options, and a lot of times you can get to somebody from that. I actually jumped on and was in the Google Home app, and was having some issues with a Google Wi-Fi, and I was curious about it dropping Wi-Fi really quick, and I was actually able to get to a live support chat through the Google Home app, and I was talking to somebody within like 3 minutes. It was fantastic. Best that I've ever had. I'm not going to say that's ever going to happen again, but it worked. And so what I did was, I went through the device app of the product that I was having a problem with. So I had a problem with my Google Nest Home Wi-Fis. So I went through the Google Home app, which controls my Wi-Fi, to then get help with that. So again, 650-253-0000 if you want to call Google, pretty cool. But a lot of times you can get to support through text through the app, and they were actually very helpful. So, but not knowing that is hard, because you're online and you're looking through online, you're going through all these different things online, trying to find that exact thing. And it's never going to tell you basically, hey, open up the app that your device lives in and then go through the support page on that, and that will take you to a human. Kind of makes sense after you hear it, but it's not intuitive when you first see it. So just wanted to throw that out as well also. But yeah, Google's phone number, take it and abuse it. Haha. 650-253-0000. Yeah, cool. Okay. Another one that's off the side of Google, but it says many unsuccessful login attempts from other countries. Should I be concerned? It's like, okay, Windows keeps telling me that there's no need to make any changes since they were all unsuccessful attempts, but I'm wondering why these attempts are happening. Is it normal? There's hundreds of them. Okay, so this is, I love this equivalency. This is the equivalency of someone going through a parking lot and just pulling car door handles, right? Pulling car door, it's locked. Oh, I found an open one. What's in here, right? And just that's what this is. It's, you have two-factor authentication set up, so they were able to either use your username and then try to hit a forgot your password prompt or something like that, or even if they have your username and your password, they were stopped and thwarted by your two-factor authentication, which, as pain in the butt as it is, saved your butt this time, right? As long as your password is secure, which we want to make sure it is, at this point I'd probably change your password just because you can, and you also have two-factor authentication enabled, you're fine. You're it. So just like I have two-factor authentication enabled on all my accounts that I can, my phone right now is sitting here dormant. I'm not getting text messages. I'm not getting notifications. My authenticator's not going crazy because no one's trying to get in my account. And I know that because I'm not getting two-factor authentication things with me sitting here talking with you. So, it's most likely a previous email, email address and password that was leaked in some data leak. There's leaks all the time now, right? We've all been involved with a data leak at some point. So there's some breach somewhere, and now those bad actors now have your username and password and are trying to get into your account. But we're thwarted by your two-factor authentication, which thwarts 99.99999% of attacks. That 0.00001% attacks is the person receiving the code, someone texting them saying, hey, what's that code? And then them giving the code away. That's the only way really in. Or if you're some type of government official and they've spoofed your cell phone, which is, again, crazy, but that's someone actually copying your SIM card, putting it into another phone, and then that way every time you get a text message, the other phone also gets a text message because it's cloned. Again, that's not going to happen unless you're some type of high-end someone. So it's not for the layman for that. So most likely, again, two-factor authentication is going to do just fine. But it's probably a leak from a breach. Have I been pwned? pwned.com. Have I been pwned? pwned.com. That is a fantastic website run by a white hat hacker. You can type in your email address and see if any companies have leaked your information. I haven't actually had a company leak my information in quite a while, but about 5, 6, 7 years ago, I had like 7 companies leak my stuff. My password has since been changed. who cares? So, yeah. But most likely your email address is posted somewhere or even posted on a company website, for example. The more public your email address is online, the more weird sign-in attempts you're probably going to get. But you can also check, again, your email in a data breach at haveibeenpwned.com and see if it's a part of any of these larger data breaches. Yeah. Okay, 3 minutes left in the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQD 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. Okay, actually, we talked about that one last time. Okay, what is the fastest, most reliable way to reinstall Windows while keeping my stuff? It says I have a quote-unquote modified Windows 10 version that can't be updated. Okay, so I have to reinstall it. Okay, so I know I can make a partition as to not delete everything, and I think that's not even necessary anymore either. But the issue of having to reinstall everything I already have. The portable stuff is simply copy and paste. Of course, that's your documents, desktop documents, downloads, pictures, videos, that kind of stuff. But the other stuff sounds like a pain. Yeah, without mentioning system settings like environment variables, etc. Is there any tool to facilitate the transition, like noting down non-portable programs installed, importing control panel settings, or anything like that? So what you can do is you can go to Start Settings, and then you go to your system, and then you can go to Recovery. Under the troubleshooters where it says Fix Problems, you're going to click Reinstall but keep everything. There's also a reset option that keeps the files and apps or keeps nothing. And then there's also an advanced startup where you can go into reboot into the actual Windows recovery environment, and you can go to some more advanced options. To be honest, in my shop, I have never run one of these. I do clean installs, we reinstall the operating system, we reinstall software, or we don't, or we try to fix the operating system. These things sometimes really flub stuff up, and I've unfortunately found that they do more harm than good. They're never or if you do that thing and you think, oh, hey, I fixed the issue, or there was some other thing that was going on that most likely you could have fixed with another way instead of resetting the entire system or putting it back to almost a factory state with your stuff on it. They built that in, and it's a great idea. I don't trust it as far as I can throw it, and I can throw a laptop semi-far. I don't trust this. I just don't. So, yeah, I'd really find out what software you're using, and we would go one-on-one and like really go through it and say like, hey, what's the software you're using? Why don't you have the executables? Why can't we reinstall it? Because that's going to be the best experience. That's going to be the best overall run for your computer. It's going to be making your computer the happiest. So, yeah, reinstalling or just kind of force-feeding the stuff. You're not really fixing the operating system at that point. You're just kind of stripping out most of the other stuff and leaving behind a shell that hopefully is functional. And sometimes it isn't. And then you're just hosed because you don't have anything because you didn't back up a whole bunch of the stuff because you thought you were going to be able to go through. So it can be frustrating. But also frustrating is ending the show. That's right, we're at the end of another Computer Man show, and if I missed your call tonight, you can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. Remember to tune into our Computer Man show here every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. on 90.7 FM, KSQD, KSQD. I'd like to thank my listeners and my amazing callers. Thank you all out there. Thank you, KSQD, Sandy Stone, Herfeld, Richie, John Sanders, Nicola Tesla, all the Santa Cruz, Mr. Gaisling, Torvalds, and Horse, the humble Electron. We're going to say hi to those people out there. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I'm your Computer Man here on KSQD, KSQD 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.